Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Peace be unto you. And we're glad to be here. We give praise and honor to he who is worth praise and honor. We certainly thank the most honorable Elijah Muhammad for his teaching and his knowledge. We give praise to Allah God, whatever name you would like to entitle him as. We believe that God for believers is essential in this world today. We thank him for life, health, and strength. To the beneficent, to the merciful, Master of their requital, thee do we serve alone. Guide us on the right path, a path of righteousness, not on the path of the hypocrite, but a path of righteousness as we do your righteous work and walk in your righteous way. Keep your righteous teaching. Amen. Brothers and sisters, we're very happy to be here. This very serious subject that we see happening. That's very, very serious subject happening to us. And brother and sister, we really have no, how can we put it? We have no exception in the case of Black people. No exception at all. No exception at all in the case of Black people, where this phenomenon is not growing. And no exception in the concern, or no exception in the growing concern about this phenomenon. Black women killing their children. This is very serious. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. This is very serious, and we're seeing so many happenings of it. So many happenings of it. It's happening everywhere, and becoming more and more visible as we see the Black woman who was the protector. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. My nose is running like a faucet today. I'm sure you understand. I know you do. Where the Black woman who should be the protector of the child has become known or is being seen as the damager of the child. And there have been certain, if we should say, lights along the way, or to point her, or point us to her actions along the way. This has been something that is building. This is very difficult to get out the gate. Trying to find the words, and this is very difficult when you can't find the words. It is shocking to me. It's a very shocking thing to accept. This phenomenon among the Black woman. It's very shocking, because never in a million years will we have ever believed that a time will come when a Black mother, the symbol of protection, would have done this. The Black woman, the symbol of protection, would have attacked her own children. Unbelievable. And in light of what's going on, you can't say that the child is a threat. An infant is no threat to a parent. A stark reminder of something. We don't know what it is, but a threat? Not at all. Children, a threat? I mean, in areas of teenagers, we could probably say that. I've seen single parent homes, and they're totally different from two parent homes. Totally different on every level. There's levels of function, the levels of dysfunctions, and it is mind-boggling. I had to talk about it. I had to come and talk about it. You know, the only way that we're going to help each other and help do something about the situations that are happening in our community is to talk about it. And this is a growing and a strange phenomenon. It was common. It was common that white people or white mothers would kill their kids. It's very common. It's almost like a taboo, something that you know that you don't really talk about. But black women to do this. That's a new level. That's a new level. I don't know. I don't have the answers. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. I don't have the answers. I want to hear from black women earlier or later when you get this. I would appreciate hearing what's going on. How is this possible? What are the changes that have made these things possible in your personal lives? This show is for black men and black women. You can respond and let us know what's going on. What do you think it is? What do you think it is? What is missing? But we know it is a psychological issue. We know that it is a psychological issue. It's one of mental health. There are people in mental health that need mental help. And I want to say that these are not only the non-progressive mothers. And I I want to use that term non-progressive because I think that the term is an affectionate term in the sense that this society and its oppression has produced a confused female populace as to how they can respond to an ever-changing environment, educationally, vocationally. In other words, do they have the skills, the skill sets to be able to obtain a job, to build one's professional portfolio, so to speak, or independent business portfolio, because I think that is very, very important. So when we say progressive, we want to speak in the areas of sociology, psychology, and behavioral science. Do they have what it takes? Are they ready for the changing environment? Is this part of the frustration? You got children, it does cause certain sacrifices. It causes you to perform certain sacrifices that you may or may not have as parents, which is very, very telling. And this is the reason why this discussion of family should be really taken into consideration. Whoever you're dealing with in a relationship, whatever level, you need to be cognitive equivalent in goal, perspective, vocation. It's another way of saying being equally yoked. You should be equally yoked. Have some understanding have some understanding. So we've got a serious issue here. I mean, are the children being killed because of these parameters? Not to make an excuse, because this is just beyond. This is really beyond any explanation. I mean, as to why they're being killed, it's beyond any explanation. But talking about it and finding out what these mothers may be going through will help us to have some idea as to why, forensically, psychologically, and socially, why she has began to kill her kids, or excuse me, her children, because a kid is a goat. Pardon me, brothers and sisters. There was a time when Black women did this. The time of slavery, Black women did do these type of things during slavery. So there was a time when Black women did this. And excuse me, I'm checking my checking the barometer too as well while we do this. So we have two things going on here. Two things going on. We're waiting on the samples to come in, and then we're waiting on calls to come in on this. And there's someone to take care of that. But at least they could translate what we need to have be translated, so we can talk. So I'm looking at waiting for the message, waiting for the answers to come in to certain questions as well. So I ask you to bear with me. But this is very, very serious. Very, very serious. The Black woman is going through a transformation, and we've been seeing it for some time. With the responsibility of the family to this desire for liberation. It's an assimilation that has been placed in front of her. The assimilation, she's assimilating who? The white woman, who has the quote unquote ideal situation as a mother, ideal situation as an employed individual, ideal situation as a single mom, right? She has an ideal situation. And in this is theory, right? Or hypothesis. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. I know you understand. I'll be doing this throughout. This ideal situation of liberation, and for Black women to see that and be included because of similar conditions, and in many instances similar fates, similar conditions and similar fates. So that is blurry, but nonetheless with comprehension, because there are things that women go through that men don't go through, and there's added pressure. And I don't believe that personally that a woman should personally, I don't believe that she should have the weight of supporting a family on her shoulders. I think because I don't believe that children should be raised by a single mother. I don't think she should be left to do the job on her own. Now, on the other hand, you got a lot of ignorance among certain generations of women that have perpetuated this lie that, I'm a single mother, I'll be fine. That's not the case. Many young women have run away men like their parents before them. Excuse me. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. Thank you. I'm sure you understand. Many have run away. Young men who would have been good fathers and good stepfathers to children, by many of them by being promiscuous with other men, even though they had someone, whether married or unmarried, and being influenced by their social surroundings. So the social factors that play into it. They've lied on black men who have been useful. And if they wanted to get out, then they said man was being difficult for them, involved the police in it, may lie on that man so they can go out and do what they want to do. And then play the game of the victim. And you can't keep men in these situations. So this obviously poses a problem, does pose a problem. And these things we have to be cognizant of, and we have to certainly look at, because, excuse me, very much, they're very serious situations. They're very serious situations, and it is possible, more than likely, that the black woman is breaking. When you are, for whatever reason, when you are breaking down, and I'm talking about for legitimate reasons, not if you're in a bad situation, that's something totally different. But when you are breaking down your support systems, it leaves you without support. We're not just talking about monetarily, we mean socially, psychologically, spiritually. It leaves you without support, and that has an effect. That has an effect on you as a person. It has an effect on you as a person. If you are a single or married mom, and you have destroyed your support system, this has an effect on you emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and it begins to weigh on you mentally. And by not having a release of training and understanding, I believe that's why the Nation of Islam, we have and the apostolic teachings have it too, but they have a type of mother-daughter type of system. Out of the old black churches used to have it, and used to have a religious education system as well. But this is the reason that the MGT, or the Muslim girls training, it can also be the Muslim government training. But this is the reason why they have examples and examples in front of them, so that they will get training on how to respond, how to keep house, how to be in a relationship, how to court, how to become married. What are the behaviors that's going to support that? How to address issues for self-conditioning and receive positive people around you. We need, and our families need, men and women, but for this case, women, because of the particular subject that we're attempting to get some understanding, dissect. We'll talk about this several times. We'll talk about this again on a different occasion. But Excuse me, brothers and sisters, I know you understand. This is a serious issue. This is a very serious issue. When the black woman began to kill children, this is assimilation of an oppressed environment. When the black woman began to kill her own children, this is unheard of, except in the area of slavery, when she would call mercy killings. Now, there was a time when black women would kill their children rather than have them come into slavery. But also, this was a sign of a revolt when she did that they were getting ready to take over the plantations, and they did, and they got freedom too. Without workers, a business can't survive, a company can't survive. And plantations were just that. Plantations were just that. They were agri companies of free labor. So black woman, she act out like, I'm not giving you any more kids to put in slavery. You know. And that must have been a difficult thing for her to do, but it brought her to an area where she was going to revolt, because see, something different happened. Something different happens to a non-killer. Something different happens to a non-killer when they kill. They go through changes. They go through a lot of changes. And then how many killings have happened before this act? How much of this had been hidden before it became a surface issue? We have to think about that. Think about this that we're talking about. And we look back in the past at the black women under the oppression of physical slavery. Because you're still enslaved. You're still in slavery. Many of you don't know it, but now we've been free. We've been able to be free. The only answer to our freedom is to fight and make it evident. You're going to have to fight whether you want to or not. You're going to have to. But in the light of all of this are the difficult issues that we must deal with. And part of this is this pressure cooker is to put us together. And God has designed it that way. But while we're going into this time of great liberation, the great revolution, and I believe there will be bloodshed. I do believe that there is bloodshed leading up to it. The killing of children is one of them, black children. You know, what is going through the mind of the black woman? This change that she's in, you know, what is going through her mind? I mean, we know that liberation destroyed the black family. White woman's liberation. Black woman, they never need to be liberated. You don't run a system in that sense. You don't have the pressures of a system, pressures to produce in that sense. But your community works different when you're black. Your community works different. The white power structure is used to individualize areas of power. So in the sense of having some say in the direction of their governments, policies, and things of that nature. So let's be clear about that. Black families work as a unit. They always have, even in Africa. They've always worked as a unit. The reason you're having, excuse me, brothers and sisters, I know you understand. The reason you're having all of these issues with the black woman, and the black man today is due to your oppressors trying to, or putting you in a situation to make you mimic the problems of their society. This is not your society, and it's not mine. This is their society. And so when we begin to deal with these type issues, right? It's because the factors were placed in front of us. And want to be plain about that. Want to be plain about that. The factors were placed in front of us. And the fact that they were placed in front of us poses an issue. It poses a problem. It poses an issue. And it does pose a problem. Because black women weren't made, nor black people, but in this case, black women. Black women weren't made to survive or function in these type of societies. These societies work against black culture. And the biggest trick or manipulation is to make you believe that you can function in this society. That you can function in this society. You cannot. You are made to function in this society, so it causes trouble for you. And it makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do. Because you're functioning in a system that was meant to imprison you, to keep you down, to destroy you. You came here as a slave and you're yet a slave. You are yet a slave. You're still a slave. There's no such thing as freedom in this society. Not under this yoke of this oppressor. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And you have to know that. You have to know that. You have to know that. We give honor to our brother Jamal Davis. We say, Assalamu alaikum, brother. He says, salute, brother, peace and blessing. Peace and blessings, brother. Thank Allah for you and all others that stop by and all others that are listening. Because this is very, very important. This is very important. We have to do some serious house cleaning. We have to do some serious house cleaning. And that's why this show, it's a rough start because I'm just shocked. I'm just shocked. I mean, who would ever have thought that black women would do this? I mean, it's taboo. It's taboo that a black woman would hurt her own children. It's literally taboo. Who would ever thought it? And that should show you how far we've gotten. How psychologically damaging and emotionally damaging and sociologically damaging oppression is. It's the reason we have to fight to get out of it. We have to fight to get out of it. We have no alternative. None whatsoever. When I say fight, as a Muslim, we are taught, enemy is necessary. As black Christians that are conscious, we're taught enemy is necessary. So we have to have understanding of that. And remember, a good Muslim is a good Christian, and a good Christian is a good Muslim. And this goes beyond your quote unquote division in religions. The devil created that. Africa has many systems of spiritual faiths that falls under God, whether it be Christian, Muslim, Zoroastrian, Baha'i faith, Hinduism, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. We bear witness that God, as believers, we bear witness that God is the controller of the universe. That he did send his son to us as an example and did bless his son with the wisdom and mentality of redemptive suffering, unearned suffering that was redemptive. We believe that. In other words, being able to die for a cause, when you understand it. When you understand it, being able to die for a cause. And what better cause is there for you to die for than your survival? Your survival. Because this country, these people, and the governing powers of the Western global power structure, excuse me, brothers and sisters, are committed to wiping you out any way they can. So your desire for the survival has to be by any means necessary, because they're trying to wipe you out by any means necessary. So whatever it may be, right? Thank you, brothers and sisters. I'm sure you understand. Whatever it may be, however you will be able to survive, whatever way, be able to do it. Now, our survival must not be drastic, though. We talk about, because this show is about violence toward children. You know, we should never hurt our children. These are seeds for future existence, and seeds for future assistance. So there should never come a time when we will hurt our children. Should never be. You know, and again, this is something that is learned, because it comes from a white woman. She killed kids. Y'all remember what is the girl in Florida that she killed her daughter? There's no doubt about it. I believe it, and many others knew it too, but they let her off. Casey Anthony. And it's common knowledge, because a lot of white women come forward and say, they know of their sisters and mothers that have killed kids. They knew this woman that killed a child. It was no secret. They knew it, but they let her off. Baby was found in the backyard. Remains of the child found in the backyard. And that's tragic. But it's even more tragic for us when our black women are doing things and we see it. We know it's abnormal to who she is as an individual. We know it's abnormal. But to see her do it, and to not acknowledge it, right, to overlook it, is self-annihilation and self-defeating. So we've got to figure this out. What do we believe? What do we believe, and how? How has this become, shall I say, prevalent? A prevalent sort of hidden situation in the black community. How is it? When did this begin to happen? Has it always happened? It may be something that's happening under our noses, and we hadn't really paid attention to it. How do we stop it? We need classes. We used to have the power of religious institutions, irregardless of the denomination. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. How do we effectively deal with this issue? This is a growing phenomenon. In one of the and I read over 100 briefs. If you're familiar with me doing these shows, I wouldn't say anything that's going to damage the black community. But I understand what's going on this issue. If we don't put it out front, We won't save the black sister. You don't save her by hiding things. Many of these black sisters have become selfish. They become selfish. Many of them have come out of selfish situations and conditions, cold situations, cold conditions. And I'll tell you, brothers, and I said it before, there's more to a woman than her face and her body. Many of you brothers could be dealing with a lunatic, all because she has a nice face and a nice body. There's more to a woman than that. There's more to a woman than that. And I believe the intelligent black woman is being overlooked. The useful black woman is being overlooked. And many of them come from families that will continue to damage them, that have damaged them and will continue to damage them because they lack a support system. So women, for various reasons, will pack the entire deal in her body and her face. Likewise, there's more to a black man than his body and his face. There's more to him than that. We have to start investigating and investing into one another, truth, understanding, and friendship in many ways, to heal one another, first of all, because you can't do that just sexually. Sex don't heal anybody. It confuses plenty, but it don't heal anybody. See? And expectations you expect to get out of 2 hours of pleasure rather than pleasure. But there's nothing mentally that you can fix by laying down with somebody. We have to be in conversation and have to have some understanding. There needs to be an understanding of what it is to be a black woman and black man, what's expected of us. If black men and black women are to get together, what is the expectation? What do you bring to the table? Excuse me, brothers and sisters. So we have to seriously investigate our relationships, what it means to be in one. What may not be a good fit, right? A lot of things that look good on the outside are rotten and terrible on the inside. Mentally, emotionally, psychologically, toxic. Come out of a toxic situation. If you come from a toxic situation and all you learn is toxicity, then that's what you're going to give out. You can't give out what you don't have. If you don't have love, you can't give love. If you don't have understanding, you can't give understanding. If you don't have self-approval, you can't give self-approval. A lot of people thrive off positive energy that they just can't give back. Can't give it back. They don't know how. They haven't been taught. Many women think it's beneath them to tell a man that he's a good man. I've heard many say that if I tell him he's a good man, then he'll stop being good. Or it'll go to his head. It'll go to his head. What situation, what situation does a person come out of that make them suppose this conclusion? Supposed conclusion. What situation did they come out of? Because all of these are important factors. These are very important factors. There have been women and men that get together that have been very toxic for one another. Then children are involved. And so one would have to decrease, because now you have children involved. And the children didn't ask to be there. You brought them there. You brought them there through the power that's been given to you from God, Allah. allows you to form a child, preferably in love, preferably in moral excellence, preferably in physical purpose, preferably in spiritual calling. You brought forth life that you may have life and have that more abundantly, right? That's part of the wealth of sexual gratuity between a man and a woman, preferably husband and wife, preferably, but nonetheless, a man and a woman. And something has happened in bondage to make the Black woman feel that it's okay to kill her child. Something has happened. Something has happened. Something has happened in bondage to make her quickly respond to killing her child. There was a case of a 13-year-old girl who was shot by her mom. The child was dying, and the mom told the child to lie and say that an invader broke in and shot her. She asked the child to lie while she was dying. My God, what has happened to the Black woman? What's happened to our sisters? When did they become so selfish that they would do this? But the desire to be like the oppressor on the out of this, the outside, what's being seen. But what factors have happened on the inside? Because this is a long time coming as far as being in slavery, because there was a time when the slave mothers would take the lives of their children because they said, I'm not letting my child come up in this condition. No, sir, I won't allow it. So they took the life, and they was ready to die when that happened. They was ready to die. They were ready to die. So that, normally when those things happen, there was a blacks were getting ready to take over the plantation and come out of oppression. Is this a factor? Is this what's going on? Is this what's about to happen? Is this part of the process? Because a Black woman is becoming a killer of her own seed. Would this bring the coldness that is needed for the revolution? Is this the part that she's supposed to play? We don't know. But we know that this situation that the Black woman is in, the oppression, and what she's been made to sacrifice. She had to sacrifice a marriage. She's had to sacrifice love. She has to sacrifice parenting, good parenting. The situation calls for it. And then she bought into it, right? But it took a long time, the timeline from slavery to now. There was a timeline where she's constantly being crunched by this, the weight of oppression that it produced the Black woman, the current Black woman that we see was produced. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. Was produced by the system. By the system. We've got to find out what's going on. This will not be the last show on this. We got to find out what's going on with our sisters. We got to find out, brothers. Because it is literally killing us. It's literally killing us. When the enemy got you doing his work, he's been pretty successful. When he had you doing his work, He's become pretty successful at oppression. Now, with Donald Trump in office, I want you to understand the severity of him being there. And we're going to close out because we'll be coming again with this tomorrow to talk about this because it's a serious issue. But with him being in office, it poses this continuation of quote unquote white power. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. Thank you very much. I'm sure you understand. But it's a desire to further perpetuate a system of white power. And when we see how destructive it is, we really take a real look, and see how destructive it is, then this is something we cannot allow. Now, what do I mean? And what it has that to do with the black woman, her killing her children? The system and the weight of it has caused the black woman to want to be free of any kind of attachment to the system, which makes her blame everyone else. She blames her man. Without looking at herself, she blames the child. She blames this, that organization, right? The dope of religion. When it wears off, the effects of the dope of religion, what older Muslims called the Jesus witchcraft. In other words, the identification with something that you have no religious, no spiritual attachment to. You're merely there to get a fix. And religion for many people is a fix. A lot of people are addicted to religion, not necessarily spirituality, which does liberate. Spirituality liberates. A lot of people are addicted to religion. You have to be willing to say that. And I believe religion is the best form. Absolutely. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. It is absolutely the best form of oppression and bondage entanglement. Because whatever you believe in religion, whether wholly understood or partially understood, can bound you if your oppressor is attached to that same religious edification. So what do I mean? If you're a Baptist, it's because your plantation owner was a Baptist. If you're Methodist, your plantation owner was a Methodist. Back in your history, your parents' plantation, right, was a Methodist pastor or Baptist pastor. If you are free will, then the person on that plantation was free will or primitive Baptist. If you were African Methodist Episcopal, then you were a fighter. Through religion, you fought to free your people. It's a different mindset. You're constantly evolving. If you were progressive National Baptist, these were those that came out of the coonery and buffoonery of the Baptist convention and said, hey, we're going to organize a progressive National Baptist movement. And that was to go against everything that the slave master stood for. We're going to change. We're going to change it. We will no longer be under oppression. We'll no longer serve under oppression. We're going to change our condition. We'll teach something different. We'll use our platform to make a change. And if you're part of the Gariite movement and the Nova Drew Ali and the course to Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, these organizations were vehicles for change, but it built up us in our community. It built us up in our community. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge, to rebuild ourselves. We got to rebuild ourselves. Rebuild the black woman and the black man. Have to. And I for one, excuse me, brothers and sisters, I appreciate you for understanding. I, for one, as a believer, I, for one, believe that we have to live what we're professing when we're in front of people, when we're not in front of people. We have to be real. We have to believe what we profess, so much so that we're willing to live it and have some understanding and love our people. Because if we do that, brothers and sisters, if we love our people, then we can teach them how to love themselves. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. I appreciate you for understanding. If we can do this, we can teach them how to love themselves. We can reteach young mothers parenting skills, young fathers how to be men, and continue to grow as a nation in bondage. And I mean black nation, because you're a nation, but you are indeed in bondage. You're in bondage. There's no other way to look at it. No other way to look at it. We're directly in bondage as a nation of people. And the only way that we're going to get out of this, bondage is that we fight on the level of rebuilding one another, rebuilding our community, rebuilding our perspective and goal for liberation, true liberation. This system that we're in has fallen. This is a dead system. It has fallen. This has fallen. There ain't no coming back. This system is no coming back. It has fallen, and because it has fallen, they need to revamp and rebuild. And when they do, they're going to use you. You are used, excuse me, brothers and sisters, you are used for everything. Even your melanin is used for microchips. That tells you how important you've been for this system. It couldn't have survived without you. You had to teach people science, had to teach them how to clean their own bodies. They didn't know it. You had to show them plants for healing. They didn't know it. They didn't have it. You had to show them medical science, mathematics, engineering. They didn't have it. Science and technology, they didn't have it. You had all of these things. The reason you were put in bondage. And at what cost to you? At what cost to you? That's not the white man's concern. What it does to you, thank you for being understanding, brothers and sisters. What it does for you is not his concern. What it does to you is not his concern. The white man's only desire and concern is to produce on whatever level he can. He destroys the earth by digging all the minerals out, causing holes and pockets within the earth. not replacing what he's taken out. He does the same thing in agriculture. And he has no patience, so he created genetic modified substances from plants and tampering with seeding. He'll grow watermelon that don't have seeds. In other words, if they don't have seeds, they can't be reproduced. They can't nourish us. Can't nourish us. Plants that don't have seeds can't do anything for you. He don't understand the purpose of life because there's nothing living in him. And if a person can't appreciate life, then they can't teach life. They can't teach appreciation of life. That's why it's so easy for him to kill you and teach you how to kill yourselves. Just as a black woman is killing her own children, not realizing that she destroys the deliverer to come. The deliverer to come is the generations to come. And each generation is our deliverance. When you think of the messianic people, when you think of messianic leadership, the leader is called as a result of the times, and the people are called to support the leader as a result of the times that they're in. No leader can do it himself or herself. No people can do it themselves, right? But it's the leader and the people. But he said, I call, what did he say? How can the preacher teach or the leader teach? Right? Unless he be sent. How can the people hear without a leader? You can't do it. This is talking about people in oppression. The Bible is your history. This is about you. This is about you. The Bible is your history. And you have to understand that. You have to be able to accept it. Nobody can make you do that. Oppression is against you. You're not free. You have to understand that. And I believe that if there are people that are out front, even those that are professing to be leaders, or voices for the oppressed that are black, pay attention to the media attention that they're getting and judge it from there. And I tell you this, I say this for a reason. No oppressor will allow anybody to get that kind of attention on a media that they control if that person wasn't a part of the system of oppression. And I said it to say this. Every plantation that the slave was on, whether colonial or social or physical, the masters of those plantations had control of the information that's going out. It's no different today. It's no different today. No different. Many black leaders that are coming out and supposed to have all these followings. They're supposed to be conscious, right? These 2-for-1 deals like Cat Williams. Oh, yes. I said Cat Williams. I know a lot of y'all getting upset with me. Distracts us. It's a distraction. It's a distraction from the message that we're supposed to be receiving and how we're supposed to govern ourselves in the time of our exodus. This is the time of our exodus. But you never wait for an oppressor to tell you that you're free. You never wait for it. Freedom is something that you do for yourself. Like the white man made himself free because he was ready, willing, and waiting to do whatever it took to be free. And when the black man is ready, willing, and waiting to do what it takes for them to be free, then you'll still be walking around here as a second-class citizen of what is known as a 20th century slave, 21st century slave, and 22nd century slave, because we don't have long before we're into another century. And here you and I are still groping in the daytime as if in darkness, when we know what we must do. Now, the effects, we can't afford the effects of bondage and what it's doing to our community. Women are just one area. We're going to have to continue to focus on this. We'll come back with another show. So I'll end it here and I'll say, peace be unto you. If I did say it in the beginning, I say to you, assalamu alaikum. It's a peace be unto you. All believers, whether you be Christian or Muslim or whatever, peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum. Now, brothers and sisters, we pray that you will love one another. Sisters and brothers, love one another. Raise your children up in love and admiration for God. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. Admiration for God, admiration for truth. And we pray that you won't provoke your children, that you'll love one another and teach righteousness. Teach righteousness so that the child will be able to mimic that, right? And we'll change it one family at a time, one factor at a time, one individual at a time. Each one will reach one. And this is our desire and our prayer and our goal. If I didn't say to you in the beginning, I love you. And assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. Brothers and sisters, peace. The peace that surpasses all understanding. I give that to you because that peace comes from God. Peace be unto you.